right, welcome everybody. We are now live recording at the wonderful Pinnacle Studios, downtown Topeka, Kansas, amongst the beautiful palm trees and sunny weather, which is not a lie except for the palm trees. It is sunny, it is nicer. I gotta tell you, it's noticeably nicer because I'm really kind of over the single digits. Can't get out and do
probably overdressed too.
I can already feel the heat rising in my layers here, but we have a pretty good show today, I think, coming at you guys. We do have another guest this week, which is cool. I like having guests.
Number 2.
Guest number 2.
Maybe 3. I couldn't remember. I was trying to tell Mitch. Mitch already dropped the ball here.
Dropped the intro already.
Yeah, no, it's always fun to have this in because we can bounce ideas off of another brain and another personality. But again, we are live, so down in that little corner of your Spreaker app, if you are listening off of Spreaker, you can type in questions and interact with us live, and we do enjoy that, and we do actually. You have the chance to actually change the course of the show, so it's super interactive, and that's a lot of fun for us. So if you have something to say, if you have a question or an opinion, go ahead and type it on in and send it to us. But today, like we said, we have the mystery guest's name is Mitch Sexton. Okay, he's a local superhero and leader. He worked at Jostens for nearly 40 years, and he was in leadership training for 25 of those years. So the man knows how to speak. The man knows how to motivate. The man knows how to talk to people about bringing out their own leadership potential and their own potential to reach their goals and everything. Anyways, so we want to say welcome, Mitch.
Well, thanks for having me. I just want to share with everybody as we kind of go through this. Yeah, I've done a lot of training over the years, but this is the first time I've ever done a podcast. So bear with me. This might be a little bit new for me, but I look forward to having this opportunity to kind of share some thoughts. First of all, I think the topic we're going to talk about today, or I was asked to try to present to you all, is the concept, are you committed or are you interested? And man, what an apropos topic for this time of year. I
Absolutely.
mean, how many of you been like in a gym setting? It seems like this time of year, everybody makes New Year's resolutions. I'm going to do this, or I've committed to getting fit, or I want to lose weight, or I want to do whatever it is. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot. Quit smoking, for example. There's been a lot of people that come up this time of year with New Year's resolutions.
Right.
And it reminds me a little bit. For the people in the gym, and Brandon with the gym here is the manager and the owner of the gym, and these New Year's resolutions that people make for this time of year is God sent. It reminds me of the retail people at Christmas time. Their favorite song is "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." Well, just like for Brandon here, it's all these folks making these New Year's resolutions because it fills up the gym. And I've been a member here for over 10 years, and we are coming up 10 years. I guess next week it's been 10 years. We joke about we're going to see a big influx of people, and usually by February 15th, they're gone.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I was going to say that there might be some people walking that line right now that you're going to talk to about being interested or committed that are looking at that option to say, well, I'm kind of uninterested again. It's kind of getting hard. My schedule's starting to pick up. But I think it's a scientific fact because I learned this on Facebook that January 17th is National Quit Your Resolution Day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so this is a good time. We're 2 days past the mark. Hopefully we can save some people. Well,
the topic about are you interested or are you committed? First of all, I heard this in a training, and it's a joke, so bear with me. I'm probably going to be corny, but I've used it around here with a lot of different people, and it's the old adage of the country breakfast. Country breakfasts are usually made up of eggs, bacon, and ham. Well, if you look at it, the chicken, they came in and laid an egg. They're interested in this country breakfast, but stop and think about that poor pig. He was committed. He had to give his all to this country breakfast. And so you got to stop and ask yourself, when you start making these resolutions, are you committed to this, or are you just interested? Because if you're just interested, we look forward to having you join us for a while, and then we'll see you next year around January 1st, right, Brandon?
Right.
So I want to share with you kind of an example of two guys that I know at the gym. One of them very personal, me. But anyway, we have two guys. Both of them were 5'6.5". Both of them weighed 205, and both of them made a New Year's resolution they were going to lose weight for different reasons, but both of them had that. And so they started their journey. And as we watched those two guys progress, one of them, when the day came, the end date that they set this thing up, New Year's resolution, on the end date, they got on the scales, and their goal was to be at 175. And when they got on the scales, it measured 175, not 1 pound or 1 ounce over or 1 ounce below. 175. The other guy, he started the same weight, same size. He was at 205, and he ended up at 204. So, a classic
Who
example.
was the other one?
I'm not going to say because I don't want to he'd punch my face off, but it just shows you there's a sign of, are you interested in it? Are you committed? And if you're going to commit it, now I want to share some things that I've learned over the years about setting in place the issue of commitment and what does it take.
Well, before we get into that, what would be your definition of interested versus committed in terms of, maybe life or even this?
Well, it's one of the things that helped me, and I'll share this with you, and then I'll get to that answer.
Sure.
You got to understand a little bit about what some of your core values.
Okay.
And I had the golden opportunity to try to look internally and see what some of my core values are, and I determined it was honesty, commitment, and responsibility. So everything I do, I overlay over those 3 points, whether I'm committed to do something, am I going to take responsibility for my actions? And so those are, it was part of the core
Sure.
thing. So committed.
This was a while ago.
Yeah, this is. I learned that in actually a Stephen Covey course on time management. They said you got to look at your core values, and I determined that it was honesty, commitment, and responsibility. So I'm going to take responsibility for whatever I do. I'm going to be honest in my day-to-day activities, and then when I say I'm going to do something. So that's the definition of commitment.
Sure.
You're doing what you say you're going to do.
Sure.
So if you're going to make a New Year's resolution, you're going to commit to that. If you don't think you're going to be able to commit to it, don't do it.
Yeah.
That's what people used to ask me, you want to play on the softball team? Well, I knew I couldn't be at every game, or I couldn't be at a majority of the games. So I'd say no, because I could not commit to it.
Right.
So what we're going to talk about, and so if you're interested in something, you got a desire, but you don't have the willingness to go
Right.
all the way.
So you were interested in maybe playing softball, but just couldn't commit to the time.
Right.
Yep.
And so when you commit, that's some of the things that I'm going to talk about now. It was a good lead in here. When you talk about that is how are you going to make this happen?
Sure.
How are you going to make that New Year's resolution happen? And the first thing is you got to commit to yourself. And it's easy, just like the other gentleman that we were talking about. He committed to me. He didn't commit to himself. So the only person he let down was me. Because if you commit to yourself, who's the person you see every day?
Yeah.
You see yourself.
Right.
And so that's the thing. First thing you have to do is commit to yourself. And so if you let somebody down, you're letting down yourself. So usually it provides a lot of inner desire to accomplish whatever you want to set out to do, whatever that New Year's resolution might have been. And so the first thing is commit to yourself. The next thing is put it in writing. I remember one of the hardest thing I ever did, and I don't know, some of you out there, and maybe, I don't think, Brandon, you ever did it. If you guys ever seen Brandon, you'd know he'd never done this. But me, I'm an older guy, older dude, and I smoked for 20 years. And
Sure.
I had a father die of lung cancer and everything, but that still didn't get me to stop.
Wow.
What I had to do to quit is my boss wanted me to teach a smoking cessation class for American Lung Association. But to do that, and I was a closet smoker for 20 years. I was embarrassed by it. But anyway, you had to sign a piece of paper claiming you were a non-smoker. And remember what I said?
Told him you were
Sort of
interested.
one of my core values. I could not sign that
Right.
piece of paper because I was not honest. And so I put it in writing to myself. So that helped me establish a commitment to myself. So put it in writing. It's easy to do. Besides that, you can post it and you can look at it. You can say, I committed by February 22nd, I was going to be 175 pounds. And that was going to drive me to that goal because I made that commitment to myself. Then you got to establish a goal. What is it? And the two of us set a goal. We were at 205 and wanted to get to 175.
Right.
To set a goal, best way to describe a goal, and I've done this with Brandon a lot when we talk about goals, it's a dream with a deadline. A dream with a deadline. And so my dream was to be at 175. Well, it's egotistical. I was having my give you an idea how old I am. I had my 50th reunion this past year, and so the goal was
Birthday.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that birthday?
no, that was just my 50th high school reunion. So I wanted to be 10 pounds lighter than I was when I was in high school. And so that's what I set in motion. Egotistical, yes. But also I wanted to go back being the stud muffin.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And so I set that in motion. So that was my dream, to go back to the reunion at 175 pounds. And a deadline was February 22nd, the day before the event.
Okay.
So that's what you set in motion. So you got to have a goal, and so whatever your resolution or your commitment's got to be, set a goal, but also have a deadline. The next thing you got to do is maybe establish somebody to be your conscience. That could be a spouse. That could be like the other gentleman at the gym that we could banter back and forth. But sometimes it's easier to do it. We've got people working out right here, and they're working out in tandem. It's easier to do that because it gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And so that being the case, maybe it might work for you to, as you set this goal and this dream with a deadline, maybe share it with somebody and have them be your conscience.
Right.
So that when you break off from not going in or eating too much or whatever your goal was to be, they can help you right yourself back into going down the proper path for your deadline. The next thing I would say is important to do is measure your results. As you go along, for example, let's take the weight loss deal. Start at 205, and this was January 1, and by September 22nd, I wanted to be at 175. So I knew I had that many days to accomplish this goal, to meet that deadline. But it's not, think about if you're lost and you don't, first of all, if you don't know where you're going, how you know you're going to get there?
Yeah.
That's the one thing why you got to set a deadline or when you're following a map, you got different points that you got to see. If you're going to get to where you want to go, you got to measure how you're getting to that point. So measure the results. And so I had that length of time, and I set kind of milestones. That's another thing. Set some milestones. So when you get to those points, you can celebrate those successes. And so let's say after a month, if I planned on being 2 pounds down, did I accomplish that? If I did, I could celebrate as I went through this. Or in the quit smoking deal, it was if I could go 1 month. Well, first of all, if I could get by 1 day. Mm-hmm. If you've ever been hooked on cigarettes, you'll know what I'm talking about. Or the get by 2 weeks. And then after a while, it's just become a way of life. But you got to establish milestones so